Hey y'all, and welcome back to my Pride Month series of many videos. Today we're going to be talking about fantasy books. And again, I tried really hard to cut down the list and I sort of managed it, but there's 8 books in this video, so we're gonna go quickly. So first, we're gonna start with Burn by Patrick Ness. This is really solid 1950s historical fiction, complete with racism and homophobia, which is really well done, but can be really hard to read. Except dragons exist. And dragons have always existed. Or have they? Patrick has created something really phenomenal, as he often does. And I almost included this in the historical fiction video because it's that good. It's just, dragons. So read it, have fun. Next is one that I actually could not get my hands on because it is checked out everywhere and keeps selling out at my bookstore. It's called House in the Cerulean Sea by T.J. Klune. This is technically an adult book, so do with that what you will, but it is masterfully written and definitely for everyone. 2 misanthropic men are put in charge of 6 children, a gnome, a sprite, a wyvern, an unidentifiable green blob, a were Pomeranian, and the Antichrist. The men may or may not fall in love. The kids may or may not find dads. The end of the world may or may not be upon them, but they definitely might be figuring this family thing out. Have fun. Next up, we have Cinderella is Dead by Kaylin Bayron. 200 years after Cinderella and her prince lived happily ever after, balls are still the norm in their kingdom. And Sophia has no urge to marry a rich man. She'd much rather settle down with her best friend and live a quiet life. But one night, at yet another ball, she meets the last known descendant of Cinderella and her stepsisters, and it starts them on a journey they couldn't have imagined. It's adventure, it's sapphic, it's gorgeous, it's so well done. Enjoy. Next up, we have Cemetery Boys by Aidan Thomas. This one takes place in LA in the here and now, but brujas and brujos and Santa Muerte are all real, at least in some communities. Our main character, Yadriel, is having a hell of a time trying to convince his family that he's a brujo when they've barely accepted that he's a trans man. Then, just a few days before Dia de los Muertos, he goes and accidentally summons the wrong ghost, and whoops, it's the hot bad boy from school? That's an oops. Obviously, it's a lot more serious than that synopsis would have you believe, but there is a lot of fun times in it as well. Enjoy. Next, we have Master of One by Jada Jones and Danny Bennett. A master thief is told by the people in charge that he will be breaking into a safe that has already killed multiple people. But he goes along anyway because 1, he doesn't really have a choice, and 2, he's better than the rest of those thieves. But when the treasure ends up being a Fae prince, long after the Fae were hunted to extinction, things get weird. It's a fun romp, and one of the things I really appreciated about this is that while our thief and our Fae prince are both very good looking and very into each other, they also both know they have way more important things to do than start making out. Made it feel real because that's how you would be acting in that situation. So next we have Of Fire and Stars by Audrey Coulthurst. This is really good, solid, high fantasy in a world with magic and war horses and arranged royal marriages. And it also takes place in a world where people just marry each other, regardless of gender, and it's so refreshing to read it that way. It's a really fun adventure, and I think you'll all really enjoy it. Next up, we have Beyond the Ruby Veil by Mara Fitzgerald. This is about best friends, Emanuela and Alessandro. They have been besties all their lives, and they're not particularly good people. They want power and respect and money, and to keep those things, they need to marry. And they're both gay, and so they're going to marry each other, but they totally know what they're doing, right? Right. Except Emanuela ends up being the one being in their land who can give her life to keep the water flowing. And she and Alessandro aren't prepared to let that happen. This is a really well done adventure, and I love it because Emanuela is honestly just chaos and annoyance and done with everyone's BS. And she's gonna save herself and the world, but she's gonna complain about it the whole time. And yes, there is a sequel, don't worry. Comes out next year, I think, so have fun with that. Last but not least is The Mermaid, the Witch, and the Sea by amazing local author Maggie Takuta Hall. Orphans and pirates and witches, oh my! Maggie has honestly done something amazing, and this is again one of those books where I've had a really hard time trying to blurb it for this video because every time I start to write more, I just spoil the book, and we don't want that. So the characters are amazing. The love story is great. The sea itself is the best character of all, and you are going to have such an excellent time reading this book. Happy reading.